Hey guys, my name is Danish and welcome back to my channel, and today we are going into the Monza weekend where a lot of things happened before the race weekend started and a lot of things that happened in the race weekend. So that's a lot to talk about, so let's just get started. So the biggest news that we had last weekend was Kimi Raikkonen leaving Alfa Romeo and retiring at the end of this season. Now this sort of started the cascading effect into the F1 circus, where the empty seat that Kimi is leaving was confirmed that Bottas is moving from Mercedes to Alfa Romeo. Now Bottas' seat was empty, where they confirmed that George Russell was coming from Williams to Mercedes, and then the Williams empty seat was there, which was confirmed that Albon is going to take that Williams seat for next year. So they were just waiting and waiting. They already had made the decision a while back, but they were just waiting for Kimi to go out on his way, on his terms, on the time that he wanted to announce himself. So it was good that everybody in all of these teams waited for Kimi so they can do their next consecutive step and not overstep their bounds and kind of give away the news about some other driver. So it was good to see the camaraderie there in the paddock. But yeah, we have a lot of the seats confirmed. We still have the second seater Alfa Romeo not yet to be confirmed, and Mick Schumacher is yet to be confirmed, but most probably they will keep Mick because the salary is low and they need all the funds they need to do all the research for next year. So we are only waiting for the Alfa Romeo second seat to be confirmed. So Giovinazzi is at a risk right now because the contract that Alfa Romeo and Sauber made for extension from this year to a few years forward was that Sauber gets the decision to get its drivers and not follow the Ferrari junior drivers or Ferrari's directive. So let's see how that pans out. But now coming to the regular weekend, which is Monza, which was spectacular last year as well, because so much happens on this short track and it's a fast track and a lot happens. And FP1, FP2, we didn't have FP2 actually. FP1 was normal and it was hectic, everybody on track, because instead of FP2 we had quali, because this is a sprint race weekend tester. So this is the second one of the year. We have 3 overall for this year as a testing out for how the segment works. The sprint race is something that I would want to see more, but the format needs to change. Like, it does not have to go after quali, it has to say something independent, like based on last weekend's grid or something like that, and move forward and just make a small race on the Friday or Saturday, but keep qualifying for the race position, because you have to earn the position based on your lap time for the race and not just if you have an overtake or if you have a crash in sprint qualifying. You're going to be dead last and put all the effort that you put into quali be wasted. So that's what happened to Pierre Gasly. He had a good quali, but I'll come to that. Yeah, I'll not give spoilers. So quali Q1 was normal. Pierre Gasly survived here, but Latifi pin P16 went out, Tsunoda P17, Schumacher and Mazda pin 18 and 20, and Kubica in the middle of both of these Hasses went out. Russell made it into Q1 by a margin because Tsunoda put in his fastest lap at the end and he actually came up into the standings and pushed down Russell, but that lap time was rated and Tsunoda was put back down into the bottom 5. That saved Russell from not appearing into Q2. Again, it was hectic in Q1 again because of all the queuing in sector 2. All of that was hectic. Actually, instead of sector 3 they were queuing in sector 2 as well, so it was really tight over there. But they all made it through. They all did the cat and mouse game, the towing game, and at the end of Q2 we lost Vettel and Stroll, 11 and 12 Alonso and Ocon, 13-14, 2 rows of the same people, and Russell P15. Yeah, they don't have the top speed margin here like last time to keep up with the top 3 teams. And coming to Q3, at the end of Q3 we have Bottas P1, Hamilton P2, Verstappen P3, both the McLarens 4 and 5, Gasly P6, Sainz and Leclerc in 7 and 8, and Perez P9, a bad showing. But Gio in the top 10, that looks promising. But Bottas is P1 over here and he's going to start P1 in the sprint, but he's taking engine penalties and he's going to be dead last in the race. So this Q1 was just to confirm that Bottas will take maximum amount of points if possible in the sprint and take away points from Max Verstappen, and it's a strategic thing for the championship. A lot of things will start rolling over towards the championship now, and all of the things will be rolling over that the wingmen have to sacrifice their strategy or position to give the leaders and the team the maximum advantage that they can get. So then we come to free practice 2 on the Saturday morning, and Carlos Sainz crashed out. Yeah, it was a bit of a mess, but yeah, not so bad. coming to sprint qualifying. And now it is crazy because there was contact at turn 1 with Gasly and his front wing went under his front tires. He jumped into the first curve of Grande, I think, and he took himself out, and there was a safety car. Even though there's 18 laps in this sprint, the safety car was out on lap 1. This is what we missed last weekend. Without a safety car, it was not as exciting, but safety car lasted for 3 laps. Then it was pretty normal. Bottas was over there. Verstappen gained a position over Hamilton. Hamilton lost a few places at the start. Ricciardo was a good in P3 over there, and at the end we got Bottas 1, Verstappen 2, Ricciardo P3, Norris P4, Hamilton in P5 behind 2 McLarens, which was not really something that he wanted to see and be in this title championship of 2021. And then after him we have Leclerc and Sainz P6 and P7, Gio P8, a good showing. He was in P10, he came up to P8, Perez P9 stayed there, Stroll came up a position, Alonso P11, he climbed up a lot, Vettel P12, Ocon 13, Latifi and Russell 14 and 15, Tsunoda Mazepin back there. And yeah, now coming on to the race, it was a bit of an interesting starting grid because Bottas was behind and Dan Ricciardo got pushed up to P2 into the front row, Norris and Lewis in the second row. Yuki Tsunoda did not start because his car was not in condition, and Gasly started P20 because of the crash he had in the sprint race. So the lights went out and everybody went forward, and here is the kicker, that is Daniel Ricciardo out-dragged Max Verstappen into the first corner and took the lead into the race. And it was a scrappy start because Max and Norris and Lewis were pushing. Lewis came up all the way into P3, but Max and Lewis bumped tires and Lewis got pushed back all the way back to P4 again. And after this it was really normal holding station because not a lot happened here in the lead 4 cars, but behind them a lot of action happened because Antonio Giovinazzi cut the corner and bounced off into the track in an unsafe manner. He touched Carlos Sainz and went into the wall and lost his front wing. This called a virtual safety car for 1 lap we had, and then it was a bit of a stable race for most of the runners other than Bottas, who was pushing from the back, and by lap 11 he was P11. 11 laps, 8 drivers, he overtook them all on the main straight. Even though it is difficult to overtake here in Monza, he did it. And then after that the pit stop started happening at lap 23 where the leader Daniel Ricciardo pit from mediums to hards and he had a normal stop. Then right behind him Max Verstappen stopped on the next lap from mediums to hards, but this was a long stop for Max Verstappen. He went from a normal 2.5 second stop to 11 second stop because his rear right tire did not get fit quickly. And then on the next lap we had Lando Norris pit and he had a normal stop. And then finally on the next lap Lewis pit from 4th and he had a slow stop, but not as slow as Max Verstappen. He had around a 4-second stop, and this is where all the timings got matched up and Lewis came out of the pit lane slightly ahead of Max Verstappen, and Danny was already way far ahead in the front. And because of Max's pit stop blunder, Lando Norris got promoted to P2 quite easily and he held P2. And when Max and Lewis came out, Max was right on the left side on the start finish straight and Lewis was ahead, so he took the first corner. Max was right behind him, but then Lewis had to turn in to make the corner or go into the gravel trap, and he turned in and Max was still there, so he bounced off the curb right onto the roll hoop on top of Lewis's chassis and parked his car right on Lewis's car. And you can see it in the slow-mo how much of the bodywork of Max Verstappen's car and all of that got broken and crumpled because of the crash structure and the halo that was on Lewis's car. And Max Verstappen's tire really went and sat on Lewis's head for quite a while, pressed it down and then went forward and stopped over there. And that was a bit of a scary thing to watch because if there wasn't the halo, all of Max Verstappen's engine, gearbox and tire would have been on Lewis's head. So the halo did really save his life over there, and it was the championship contenders having a crash out on their own. Again, we saw this with Nico and Lewis, we saw this with Senna and Prost, and all of this was a mess, and the championship rivals took each other out again over here in Monza. So we had a full safety car and this put Perez into P3 and the 2 Ferraris right behind him, and most of the people who hadn't pit by now now all of them took the pit stop behind the safety car and rejoined quite quickly, and then it was a chase to the finish line because Perez and Sainz also had a tussle where Perez overtook Sainz behind and he did not give the place back. So Perez did this thing again in sprint as well, but there Red Bull took a while to tell Perez to give the place back, and the reasoning they gave was they had to confirm that they had to give the place back, and soon as they confirmed that they have to give the place back, they called in their driver and gave the place back. But this was just Red Bull trying to get as much points as they can by not completely cheating or bending the rules for their advantage. So that was a bit of a cheeky, desperate move from Red Bull to claw some points back into the championship, but they did this. But this time they did not tell Perez to give back the place. Now overtaking out of the track and gaining a lasting advantage is an easy penalty, and Red Bull was banking on getting the 5-second penalty and then making a 5-second gap behind them, so when they get the penalty added to them at the finish line, they don't lose any place. But Bottas was not gonna let that happen because Bottas was in the DRS range for the whole race, right behind Perez, and to top it all off, both the Ferraris were sticking right behind Bottas and trying to keep as close to Bottas as much as they can, because when Perez gets the penalty, he gets pushed more than one place behind and lose that much more ground. So that was what was happening in the lead, and because of the safety car and the virtual safety car, nobody was on tire management or fuel saving. Everybody was on full push and everybody was fighting, and it was a lot of scrappy behavior in the front, and in the end not a lot of overtakes happened, but a lot of close quarter fighting was going on, because if you are in DRS range you get so much tow and so much pull, but if you can't make the move stick, again you have to do it again all over again. So at the end of the race we had Daniel Ricciardo P1, Lando Norris P2, Valtteri Bottas P3 got promoted, Leclerc P4 who got promoted, and finally we got Perez P5 who lost 2 places because of the 5-second penalty, and then we have Carlos Sainz in P6. Then we have Stroll in P7, a good showing, Alonso in P8, Russell in P9, again points for Williams, Ocon taking away the last point away from Latifi who is in P11, Vettel P12, Gio P13, Kubica P14 and Mick Schumacher P15. And the people who did not make it, Nikita Mazepin stopped his car because of an engine failure and got a 1-lap virtual safety car. Lewis and Max took each other out, Yuki Tsunoda did not start the race, and Pierre Gasly retired as well. So yeah, it was an interesting race to say the least, and Monza always delivers. We had fun at Monza last year as well, and this year also it was a lot of fun, and we get an Australian on the podium and a win for Daniel Ricciardo. And you know what happens when Daniel Ricciardo is on the podium, we get a shoey. This time we got 3 shoeys. So Danny Rick did a shoey, he gave Lando Norris a shoey, Zach Brown joined in and he had a shoey. But Bottas was like, nope, you guys do whatever you want, I am not drinking out of a stinky Daniel Ricciardo shoe. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch on the podium. And in the championship, Max Verstappen is still leading because neither of them made points over here. But in the constructors, Mercedes is leading because Valtteri Bottas got a lot more points than Perez, and they were already in the lead in the last year as well. And now we gotta wait to see F1 again in 2 weeks time and see what more havoc that is run over there. And it's always fun to watch such an exciting championship and such a close championship at that. And talking about the collision between Lewis and Max, the stewards confirmed that Max is getting a 3-place grid drop for next race, and he's getting 2 license point penalties on his license. And it was a fair penalty because Lewis could not do a lot more than take a longer line, and he had to turn in at some point or the other to make the corner or not go into the gravel trap. So he did what he did, and Max was a bit too hasty and a bit too aggressive, and yeah, he paid the price over here. We are seeing a lot of glimpses of the younger Max over here, but yeah, let's see how the title championship goes after this. So I guess that's the end of this video. If you like this video, give this video a like, get subscribed to my channel and ring the bell icon to receive notifications of all of my future videos. Comment down below if I missed any other moment in the race, and follow me on my social media channels, which I've linked in the description below as well. And as always, stay home, stay safe. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.